Hi, my name is Gudrun from GE Designs, and I'm here to show you and introduce you to the newest member of the Stripology family, the Stripology XL. The big mama, yes. So what this one does is pretty much combine the original Stripology with the Stripology squared. So we included some extras that really people have been asking for and wanting. So with it being XL, what you will find is the slits are a lot longer. So when you fold your fabric to cut your full width fabric into strips and such, there's no much such need to really be careful folding your fabric. You can just fold and go. And so then combining the squared in here, we have the squaring up lines from the Stripology squared ruler. So we have the black lines here for the whole inch sizes, and then for the half inch sizes, we have a turnaround feature that includes the white squares and white lines and the actual block sizes down here on the bottom, so you can much easier find the slits you're supposed to cut through when you're trimming. So some of the bonus things that neither of the other ones have is I've added, so we only used to have a 1/4 inch line to the one side of the zero, so we can cut all of our 1/4 inch increments. But now we have a 1/4 inch, a half inch, and a 3/4 inch, so which allows the ruler more opportunities to cut different oddest sizes. Like we used to only be able to cut through the 0 and the 20, so 20 inches was our widest rectangle. Now we can cut up to 21 3/4 with these added lines on the sides. And they go all the way around the top. So I like that because when I'm trimming a quilt, I like the size of this ruler being square and the weight of it to hold my quilt. And then I can have these lines if I need to trim it to the point, so a 1/4 inch from a point, half an inch from a point, depending on what your preference is for binding. That's really a great added feature. So the biggest thing is what I love and I'm just excited to play with going forward is with the added length of those slits. We used to have just 60-degree and 45-degree lines going from the bottom corner and up, which allows you to cut your strips into diamonds and parallelograms. But now we have them also going from the top corner and down, so after you cut your diamonds, you can actually rotate the ruler and cut those diamonds into 60-degree triangles and then 90-degree right triangles, which kind of takes it to a whole nother level. Which then brings me to one of the companion products that I came out with to go kind of with the ruler. With cutting triangles from strips, you will always end up with points on your triangles. So we have the point trimmers, the GEC point trimmers, which include 3 different trimmers in them. The 60-degree, obviously you can cut your triangles, diamonds, parallelograms, and then trim your points off, which will make all your pieces fit together perfectly when you're piecing. We have a 45-degree, which works great for whenever you had to cut a square and then cut it into fourths. You can now cut it from strips and then trim those points off for everything to fit together. And then lastly, we have a 120-degree with 30-degree corners on each side. So let me just show you it in action. I have some step-up pieces for some of the new patterns. So we have, Lucy is a 10-inch square pattern, really fun and versatile. It's got 4 different layouts in the pattern. One is behind me, and then we have one on the wall on the side and one over there. But it looks like really hard because you can see all the little tiny triangles and diamonds and all this stuff, and people get intimidated, but let me show you how easy it is. So actually you use 10-inch squares, plus I used a background fabric, so my teal is my background. I just take a square, I border it with the background, and then vice versa, so opposite units here. And then I'm going to take my ruler, put it on top, and I'm making 2 cuts through the ruler. So then all I'm going to do is switch these middle units and sew these back together like this. Once that's done, I'm going to square it up using the ruler into perfect squares, and I'm going to end up with 2 blocks that are mirror image of each other, and that's all there is to it. So you didn't sew a single triangle, not a single diamond, but you end up with fun blocks that you can create really complicated looking quilts without all the work. So some of our other ones that utilize both the unique things with the ruler and the trimmers is Ava. She's here on the side. So I want to show you Ava, how that easily comes together. The ruler, you will be using the 60-degree line. So we start just making basic rectangles that are bordered, and then we use the 60-degree line on the ruler and then cut it in half. And so then we also use the ruler to cut some strips into parallelograms. And then once we do that, we use the trimmers to trim our little points off, so that once it's time to sew these we trim the points of the parallelogram off too. So once it's time to sew them on, they will fit together just perfectly. No headache needed to make that all fit together like that. And then we have a really fun pattern too that is a cut loose press pattern that's kind of on the side here on the table, where it's cut from yardage, but again, making a bunch of triangles that you never had to sew. So you start off with just fabrics that you make 4 patches. You make 2 identical 4 patches. You layer them together so that the dark is against the light. And then we fold them in half. We bring the ruler over, and I have kind of marked where we need to line up that center seam with my arrow stickers. So I have that lined up here, and then a horizontal line on the bottom. And then I have my 2 blue arrows. They are marking where I should make those 2 cuts through the stack, which then you will end up with these middle units and then side units. So then all we're gonna do, so these are the side units that you just cut apart from the 4 patches. All we're gonna do is switch the middles so that we're gonna sew opposite color to the sides, like that. And so you'll have a block that looks, where's my untrimmed block? Somewhere. So you're gonna have blocks that will look like this. Last thing you need to do is just trim it to a perfect square and sew them together, and you're done. So sewing a bunch of triangles without sewing triangles.